hope everyone's having a great Friday and had a wonderful week. I am so excited for the weekend. Lord have mercy. My goodness. Hey y'all. So yeah, what happened this week? Lots of great information came out this week. I'm excited. I know everyone's kind of like going back and forth with me about the Harbor Place project. Y'all want to know what I really think in a way that I can't say it in like 20 seconds on these doggone reels? Everyone's worried about these apartments. First of all, it's a trick of the enemy, because the only reason people care if there's apartments is because that's what they live with in the headline. No one talks about how they're trying to make it like the epicenter of entertainment with, like, you know, restaurants and bars and food and water like entertainment, preparing for the water to be swimmable. You jump in first and maybe I'll jump in after, but like really activating the space. And everyone's like, oh, you know, it's not open for the community. Like, it's open to the community now. Y'all don't go. I'll be the only one walking around the harbor. Like, I'm talking about the harbor as someone who goes and still walks around the harbor now. Y'all don't be over there, and there ain't no houses. So having that space is going to help make sure that all the businesses and the restaurants and all that stuff you guys want to have at the harbor, that there's people constantly there to patronize. Like, it makes the math, and it draws people in to be able to invest and bring businesses there, and like probably add another grocery store and stuff like that. And the number of jobs, like, my goodness. So I'm happy to go back and forth about that. I'll post something later about the redistricting of Baltimore City, because I promise you, people don't care about that nearly as much as they should. So when you redraw the lines, you redraw like the voting power of, oh no, I thought that was like one of those Google Map things. Anyway, you redraw the lines of voting power, because the different districts are going to vote in city council people, but it also kind of impacts just voting in general, like how everything is calculated. So I don't think people are talking about it enough, because with how development has been happening, if those lines shift too much, that's when, like, those are the conversations when we should be debating about, you know, the voice and not that it's not important in other spaces, but like residents and people who've been here. Redrawing those district lines is really going to make it so that those folks don't have say in what's happening politically. When you think about who is living in Port Covington or the Baltimore Peninsula, or even the developments in and around, you know, Hopkins, or if you think about just where population has really boomed, in particular, the Baltimore Peninsula is probably one of the biggest impacts, because there was nothing really down there beforehand. And so how they are redrawing the districts down that way means that, you know, for example, you know, neighborhoods like Cherry Hill or Mount Winans, or like some of the neighborhoods down that way, may be outbalanced with this population boom down near the peninsula. So anyway, I'll do part 2 of that video today. I'm excited. I don't know if you guys heard or not. If you're not on the email list, you probably missed it, because I haven't talked about it here yet. But I'm doing some really cool things for Black Friday, which usually we kind of call it Black Wealth Month. And so, of course, we have my Next Gen Accelerator. So that is what I've been doing for 6-7 years, where in the last, 2.5 years, they've done $30 million of investment in Baltimore. Next Gen, everyone should know what Next Gen is. And if you don't, I don't know if it's shame on me or shame on you, but like, Next Gen is, everyone knows Next Gen, like from the governor's office to city housing to, everywhere in between, because of the impact and how much real estate has been done as a result, which really made us the largest collective buyer of residential real estate in Baltimore City. So that's Next Gen. But Next Gen is an investment not only in yourself, but in your time. You gotta, show up to the live calls, The calendar is packed every month, all that good stuff. And I have years and years and years worth of videos and coaching and content where folks are, you know, really asking similar questions and going through similar things, but it's just, you know, a little dated sometimes if I'm talking about what's happening in the news, but it's still information to learn from. It's still information that you can take and do something with. It's still going to put a lot of folks in the right position. So I launched what I'm calling Charm City Academy. And so those are membership groups where folks are able to access content and videos and information and resources at either, right now I think it's either like $19 a month at the Be Better Investors level, and then the next level is Be So Wealthy, and that is $49 a month. It actually includes everything in the first level, but also includes additional information and specifically coaching with me, the Be So Wealthy. So Be So Wealthy is going to include my live coaching call replays where we're going through everything. And like Next Gen folks know, we're talking about deals, we're talking about neighborhoods, we're talking about contractors, we're talking about just everything. So if you think I share a lot of information in these quick videos here, imagine having years and years worth of information that I've been sharing with folks to be able to do dope stuff like buy a bunch of properties, build portfolios, leave their jobs, take care of their families, and live great lives, you know? Good morning. Thank you. Hey, Sharif. Top of the morning. Good to see you. You know, you're always one of my faves. I always love to stop by. Anytime I'm out west and can stop in, or I see one of Sharif's food trucks, I always get the salmon platter. So if you don't know what to order, that's what I get. That's what Khalil used to, when we were dating, we went to Sharif's and he got me a salmon platter, and that's what I've been stuck on since forever and a day. So what's up, Sharif? But yeah, so sharing all that information. So if you're looking to tap in and learn more directly from me and my team, definitely, I think the link in my bio has the Black Friday information, or it's at GoCharmCityBuyers.com/Black Friday 23, I think. Just go to the link in the bio. Right now, I'm actually on my way to a bid day. So I'm really looking to hire more subcontractors. So if you don't know, in addition to the development projects we're doing, the rental portfolio that we have, all the people that I coach and mentor and Next Gen and all this other kind of stuff, we own a construction company. And in the construction company, I have a lot of things that I'm really working on and focused on. But one of them is to expand our reach with subcontractors. So I am headed to a bid day where we've invited a good number of contractors, a lot of which are folks on here on Instagram who said they wanted to work with us. So hopefully some of y'all responded, some of you didn't. Get in where you fit in. But so I'm headed to bid day to check on this property that, to be honest, I've been pump faking on for a little bit. So I want to get the numbers right and together to be able to move on it. So this is one of the rare cases. We haven't done like single individual houses ourselves for a while. We have done some where we've worked with other folks in Next Gen or in our mastermind specifically to collaborate on projects and pull money together to go on projects together. Those are the single houses that we've done. All the rest of the stuff has been like larger projects. So what I'll likely do with this one is do it with our mastermind again. But you know what? It's time for me to get back outside personally. So I think I am going to manage this project, where I took a break from that when I was managing all the projects and all the rentals in Next Gen by myself for a while. I think it's time for me to get back outside. I feel like the contractors that be working on stuff, they miss me, you know, when I had to really pull up on them for real. So we gonna go back to that for a hot second. So I'm on my way to the property so that I can see who shows up, meet some of the contractors. I invited some folks who are in our mastermind group to stop by as well, so they can see the house and meet some contractors too, which will be really cool and great to see them. So yeah, so that's my Friday work day. But definitely for those of you who like really value the information and you're looking to continue learning at like a really, at a really great investment, right? So either $19 a month, or I think the other tier is $49 a month, and you can gain access to just an entire repository of my coaching information, videos, tons and tons of videos. And like when I say tons of videos, I don't know that people really understand what I mean. Like I mean, what is this? Are those tomatoes or apples? What is that? Cause I really hope you're not throwing tomatoes at me. Cause I'll be upset. Cause I was pissed yesterday when somebody called me a DB on Facebook. So my block hand is strong, but I'm gonna assume those are apples because I'm the teacher. That's what I'm gonna decide that is. Oranges. Okay, cool. I'm cool with oranges too. I like oranges. They sweet, citrus. Love it. All right. So anyway, yeah. So Black Friday, giving access to years and years and years and years and years worth of content for as low as $19. So make sure you click the link in our bio so that you can tap into that information and be able to leverage it. You can cancel at any time. But really it's about being able to have continuous learning opportunities. What I think folks don't understand, and I hate, like, I never want to be the person like, oh, well, she always says that. She always says that. Like, with the market and where it is right now, interest rates are high and taxes are high in Baltimore, to be completely honest. And so it kind of like the people who are buying in Baltimore right now are buying because they're coming here for jobs, or they're coming here from another market where they don't necessarily care and they're excited about the fact that there's low competition, right? And so those buyers, honestly, they're a little bit more picky about where they're buying. It's more of a buyer's market. They're being more thoughtful, all those types of things. And so what I need to make sure people are doing is staying focused, like understanding that just because right now we're in a different phase of the investment cycle doesn't mean that you should like wait forever to do anything, because what's happening is there's so much going on all around the city. You're just going to keep missing it. So even when I was saying this years and years ago, because y'all know, if you've been following me for a long time, I've been saying the same stuff since I started this Instagram. I'm not one of those people that has switched up. You started following and I was talking about this and now I'm talking about that. No, I'm talking about Baltimore real estate. Okay, that's it. If you want to hear about something else, I have other pages for that. But over here, we're talking about Baltimore real estate. And so when I was saying similar things, like you gotta get in, people that paid attention have seen the appreciation of their properties, have seen the shifts in neighborhoods, they've seen the entire blocks be developed, right? It's like, if you're still in a position where you're going to try to wait, what you're going to see is properties are still going to increase in cost. You're going to see that developers and larger builders are still spending big money. They're still buying up all the land. They're still looking to do new construction. They're still buying up, there are hedge funds and stuff still buying up properties, where like when you're getting deals from wholesalers and they're just like trash for you and anyone with a brain, it's because they have hedge funds that are buying it anyway. That's also why we've seen really some of those companies go bankrupt. Some companies that are in Philly, or the ones that were like selling to people in Turkey, like there are more entities doing those types of things, like trying to just get control of as much as possible so that they can take advantage of the stuff that we talk about all the time and the stuff that we're doing every day and the people that we work with. And so if you sit there and think that you have the magic ball and you're gonna wait until this perfect moment to get in, you're gonna get left out. Like, I saw something today. Kendra from the Key Resource, who is my girl, love her, she posted something. It was like in 1971 interest rates were like 7.1% or something like that. And if you would have waited until interest rates dropped back below that, you would have waited 22 years to buy a property. Like, I don't want to be that girl, but the truth of the matter is, we not fitting to go back to 2% anytime soon. Like, 2-3% days is gone. Those were historic, once in, a generation time periods. And so, and honestly, like, hopefully, right? Because the reason why we went that far is because we had big issues. We had the financial crisis. So we had to bring interest rates that low in order to stabilize the market. You don't want to have something that catastrophic happen to get back to those levels. That's why they were historic. So if you're sitting there waiting to get back to that level, you finna be waiting forever. So at some point, and now I'm not saying 8% got to be where we stay. Lord help us, please come back down a little bit. Maybe we settle around like 5-6%. But like that 2-3%, them days is gone. Don't set yourself up to really miss out continuously and be another generation of folks who were like, I was waiting to buy and never really got the chance, and trying to do this and trying to do that. Like, just go. Just go. But if you're going to buy right now, you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're looking at. You have to know how to run numbers. You have to know, and understand what you're doing, so you're doing it well in this part of the cycle. This isn't the time to like just be buying stuff all willy-nilly like it might have been in 2020, 2021, where people were just buying stuff, rolling dice. You know what I mean? Like, they were just scrolling through Zillow and stopping the thing and just buying that house. And, wow, it was successful, right? That is not where we are, baby. That is not where we are. So you got to know what you're doing and be patient enough and thoughtful enough and intentional enough to wait until the right time. Yo, look at this bee's nest. This is nuts. Hold on. Can you see this? Wait. Can I zoom on here? Look at that bee's nest. Somebody gonna get that. Are bees alive right now? Like, are bees done for the year? That is crazy. Anyway, don't be out here buying any crazy stuff. Just make sure you know what you're doing. But don't wait forever, because you're gonna get left. Especially here. Imagine, when properties start to increase in DC and they're like, I'm not paying for nothing like at that price in no Anacostia, right? I'm not buying that in Southeast DC. Why would I pay that to live in Southeast DC? Yeah, that's why. Because if you were paying attention in the 90s and the late 80s, you would have known what the plans were for those areas. Just like when I sit here on these calls with NextGen or otherwise, and I'm telling you what's coming and what's happening, you're not going to say Kiara didn't tell you. How can I put my home in auction? If you want to auction off your home, you can do that through really any of the auctioneers. If you're in Baltimore, you can do that depending on like the condition of your property. You can very easily do it on Ashland, but it depends on the type of property if that's the best place. But then you also have AJ Billig and AJ Billig and what's the other one? But yeah, on those you just reach out to the auctioneers and tell them you have a house to auction. That's all. It's not that complicated. It is not that complicated. But Ashley makes it really simple because usually they're just selling junk low-key. Right? And now look at Southeast and Anacostia. Exactly. right? So like the people that were buying, like, dang, this is high, this is crazy, why are these prices like this, da 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 da. Now if they held on to it, that house is probably worth 10x. They ain't complaining now. No, they are not. But I'll tell you who is complaining. The people who were complaining about them prices. People who were like, oh, I'm gonna wait for prices to come back down. People were like, no, this is never gonna happen. People were like, hello, like DC, y'all want to talk about Baltimore? DC was the murder capital of the world. Y'all are tripping. Why? I don't understand why people can't, why it's like so challenging to learn from the past. Like, we don't have to relearn stuff a million times. We already did this about 45 minutes up the street. It's not even like, it's not a distant past. It's not a distant location. It's not a distant memory. Know better, do better. Know better, do better. And if you know better, right, you also know that you need to equip yourself with the resources and information you need to be successful. So you're not out here doing dumb stuff, because that's how people lose money. And that's why I share information, the free stuff here and on YouTube, of course, but then also on in my communities. So either the new community that I just launched, Charm City Academy, where folks are getting access to replays of information and content and just like the whole repository of information that I have, or Next Gen, where you have access to me and my team and all the folks that we've put together to make sure that throughout the weeks and months that you can get access to information you need to make the right decisions. So you're welcome. Yeah, so if your property needs work and you want to auction it, I would look at AJ Billig. I would look at Ashland, and I would look at the third one that I keep forgetting the name of, which is crazy. Do you think new construction is going to continue in to be pretty big in Baltimore in the next 5 to 10 years? Yes, absolutely. New construction will be huge in Baltimore. So whether that is apartment buildings, whether that is townhomes, whether that is like mixed use developments where you have the apartments and then the businesses and stuff, because what happens is, one, you have a lot of places in Baltimore that are food deserts. So when you're able to build property that gives you commercial and residential, you can help make the case to bring like grocery stores or bring, larger businesses or franchises and things like that want to see a certain level of residency as well as a certain level of economic power. And so we'll continue to see those mixed use type of properties, just like we are at Harbor Place, because again, to bring the businesses, bring the restaurants, bring all of the things that they want and need right there, you have to have the residential piece. You have to, otherwise the numbers don't work. Yeah, I think we'll see it all over. I know that we've been asked to have conversations about more and more new construction stuff over the last bit. So yeah, I definitely see that as a consistency. It gives a different type of property. It diversifies the topography here, so it's not just the row homes. Now, at the same time, Alex Cooper, thank you so much. Thank you. The third auction company that I couldn't think of was Alex Cooper. So the flip side, though, of all the new construction stuff is that they are providing inventory, and a certain type of inventory, and one that's really highly sought after right now, whether it's the apartments for the young professional crowd that's really driving the growth in Baltimore. So population, remember when you talk about data in Baltimore, population has decreased, but the number of households is increased, which means that the people who have moved are moving like with family. There's a bigger household size, but they're being replaced and replaced more. And so that means that there are more people moving in, like households moving into Baltimore than population that's leaving, because there's more households now than there were. Cool. Now, if we're continuing to do all these new construction projects and having all these new construction housing, whether it's townhomes, condos, or apartments, we're pulling a lot of those new folks into those new construction spaces, while we're also saying eradicate vacants, eradicate vacants, eradicate vacants, which pulls people into the neighborhoods. But the new construction and the neighborhoods are not close, right? For the most part, right? There's some new construction projects that are in and around, in the midst of the communities, but a lot of times the new construction stuff that's happening is in and along the harbor or downtown. So, I do think, and I said this on Twitter, maybe a couple weeks ago, but there has to be a point of no return where we are starting to oversupply on like the luxury apartment buildings and all that kind of stuff. And we're taking away from the opportunity to pull people into the neighborhoods, where the neighborhoods need not only the stabilization that comes with home ownership, but also the population and the economic shift and all of those things to be able to bring in things like grocery stores or laundromats or pharmacies or whatever, right? I was on a panel on Monday with Dr. Andre Perry and former Mayor Kurt Schmoke, and one of the conversation that came up was like, let's bring tech companies into the hood, right? Let's diversify the types of types of businesses and opportunities that are happening across the city, rather than having everything centered in certain areas. And the conversation I had on Twitter was like, well, the question then becomes, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do you drive businesses into certain areas and then build housing around it? Or do you build housing and hope that businesses are going to follow? And the answer is like blue, right? The answer is like both. Yes, kind of. Either. Like it's really a tough conundrum, especially when there's so much new construction activity and excitement and like the announcements, like the stuff is coming. So I'm hoping that what happens is, if we and I'm really like kind of getting into it this morning, I didn't even mean to, but what I think is, what we're seeing is we're having people move into the city. They don't know or really understand Baltimore, so they feel better about their decision on where they're going if they are around their employer, or they're at the harbor, right? Or like in or around the harbor, the Fells Points, the Cantons, the Federal Hills, all of that area, downtown. They feel confident there because they're single, or they don't have kids, they don't have a family, all that kind of stuff. What I would like to see is that we continue to focus more and more and more on schools, on school funding. I'm excited about Harbor Place because of the revenue opportunity for the city to be able to pour into schools and be able to lower property taxes and all of those types of things. Is one of the economic reasons that I'm really supportive of that project, other than it being run by a Black Baltimorean who lives in the same house he grew up in and really cares about the city regardless of what anybody has to say about it. And so, until we solve the problem that has people feeling like they can't raise their kids in some of these spaces long term because of where they're going to school, we're missing it. And a lot of that also is just a lack of, it's a narrative, right? So there are schools that are really, really STEM focused. There are schools that have partnerships with Hopkins. There are schools that are really public schools in particular that are great. We have what's this, the Blue Ribbon schools, right? We have really great schools, public schools in Baltimore, but you don't hear those stories. And so people get really afraid of raising their kids here because they don't know and understand that you don't have to send your kids to the school that's up the street. Like, you do have school choice here, that you do have great charter schools, that you do have independent schools, that you do have that you do have independent schools that will give your kids scholarships, that we do have nonprofits that give scholarships to kids to go to independent schools, right? And also, we need kids to stay in public schools because we don't want to take all the best and brightest and move them into these white spaces. Although my child goes to private school, so it is what it is. But anyway, so that's what I think about that. I think the question was, will new construction continue? How I got into policy and politics and economics of the whole thing is crazy. But that's how my brain works. So, yeah. Anyway, so the long and the short of it is that there's a lot happening, which is great. There's a lot of momentum, which is great. And there's a lot of work to do, which is also great. So I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'm going to save this because I said a lot of stuff. And somebody somewhere is going to go back and watch it. And I think it's probably good to do so. So if you're just joining, tap back in later. Hope y'all have a great day. Bye.